Let me tell you a story, my dear friends. It's a question that has often troubled me, especially as I've gotten older. Why would a son be ungrateful and disrespectful to his mother? It's a question that, when I was younger, didn't even cross my mind. A mother's love was simply a given, something that seemed as natural as the air we breathe. But as time passed, I began to see more and more of this troubling pattern. Sons who forget the sacrifices their mothers make. Sons who grow distant, even cold, toward the women who carried them through this world. In my youth, I thought I knew everything. I was strong, full of ambition, and convinced that the world owed me something. I wanted to succeed. I wanted to prove myself. And for a long time, I couldn't see the things that mattered most. My mother, with her quiet strength, her endless support, always in the background, always there, offering her love without asking for anything in return. I didn't see it. I took it for granted, as if it were something that would always be there, just like the sun rising every morning. As the years went on, though, I began to notice the difference between those who grew up with love and respect for their mothers and those who didn't. It became painfully clear to me. Some sons, for reasons I couldn't fully understand at first, simply couldn't appreciate what their mothers had given them. Maybe it was because they were too focused on their own lives, too distracted by the pressures of the world outside. Maybe it was because, like me in my younger years, they were so busy chasing success and recognition that they forgot about the love that had always been there, quietly supporting them in the background. And here's the thing. It's easy to forget, isn't it? Life moves so fast, and the world outside is full of distractions. We chase after so many things: wealth, fame, comfort, and sometimes, in the pursuit of all these things, we lose sight of the people who matter most. In the case of a son, it's easy to forget the countless nights his mother stayed up late, worrying about him, the years she sacrificed to give him a better life, the countless acts of kindness that may have seemed small but were so important in shaping him into the person he became. I'm sure there are some of you, my friends, who have seen this in your own lives. Sons who, for whatever reason, have lost their way, who seem to forget the love that's been given to them. But the Stoics, those wise philosophers, have taught me something important. They taught me that we must look beyond our own desires, beyond our own struggles, and reflect on the things that truly matter. And one of the things that truly matters, one of the greatest gifts we can ever receive, is the love of a mother. And that, my dear friends, is something we must never forget. The Stoics, my dear friends, were wise beyond their years, and if there's one thing they taught me, it's that life is all about virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues are not just abstract ideas. They are the foundation of how we live our lives, how we treat others, and, importantly, how we honor the relationships that shape us. Among these relationships, none is as sacred as the bond between a mother and her child. When I first came across Stoicism, I was struck by how simply and directly it addresses the way we should treat others. The Stoics taught that our actions must always be guided by reason and virtue, not by fleeting emotions or selfish desires. And in my long life, I've come to realize that this is a crucial lesson, especially when it comes to the people who are closest to us. Our mothers, for example. Respecting your mother is not just a matter of being polite or saying kind words now and then. No, it's about living with justice in your heart. And what is justice, according to the Stoics? It's recognizing what is due to others and acting accordingly. In the case of a mother, what is due to her is not just gratitude, but a deep, unwavering respect for all she has given, her love, her time, her sacrifices. These things are not to be taken lightly. When you forget or ignore them, you stray from the path of justice. And the Stoics are clear. Justice is not something that depends on what others do. It's something that flows from within. It doesn't matter if your mother is perfect or has faults of her own, you honor her because it is just to do so. Stoic teachings remind us that we must act with virtue, regardless of how others may act. In a way, treating our mothers with respect isn't a favor to them. It's an obligation to our own character. It's a reflection of who we choose to be. Gratitude, too, is a Stoic virtue, though it's often overlooked. We often think of gratitude as something we feel when others do something for us, something we can express in a thank you. But gratitude, as the Stoics saw it, is more than just a feeling. It's an active practice, a way of seeing the world and acknowledging the gifts we've received, both big and small. And what could be greater than the gift of life itself, which our mothers give to us with such boundless love and care? It's easy to take this for granted, especially when life gets busy or stressful. But gratitude, when practiced sincerely, brings us back to the core of who we are and what really matters. The Stoics also teach us to recognize that we control our responses, not the actions of others. If a son grows distant or disrespectful, it's a sign that he's lost sight of these values. And it's a reminder to all of us that if we wish to live a virtuous life, we must constantly strive to live in accordance with justice, respect, and gratitude, especially toward those who have given us everything, like our mothers. Now, you might be wondering, why does a son grow ungrateful or disrespectful toward his mother? It's a question that has troubled me for many years, and as I reflect on the lives of those around me, I've come to understand that there are several reasons, often intertwined, that lead a son to lose sight of the love and sacrifices his mother made for him. In my younger days, I was so focused on my ambitions that I failed to recognize the value of my mother's quiet support. I was driven by a desire to prove myself, to carve out a place in the world, and in doing so, I neglected the very person who had given me everything. At that time, I thought my success was all about me. I didn't stop to think about the sleepless nights my mother had spent worrying about me, or the ways she had shaped me into the person I was becoming. I think this is the first reason some sons become ungrateful. They become too consumed by the outside world. Society tells us that success is measured by wealth, recognition, and status, and many of us chase these things without ever questioning what really matters. In doing so, we forget the importance of the foundational relationships that help us grow, especially the relationship with our mothers. When a son becomes too focused on achieving these external goals, he often fails to reflect on the internal values of gratitude and respect. Instead of acknowledging how much his mother has shaped his life, he may take her support for granted or, worse, begin to view her as a hindrance to his personal ambitions. Another reason is that a son may lack self-awareness. This is something I've seen in others, and I've experienced it myself. Sometimes, a son is so wrapped up in his own struggles or disappointments that he can't see how his actions affect those around him, especially his mother. He may be angry or frustrated with the world, and direct that energy toward the one person who has always been there for him. A mother, unfortunately, can become the emotional punching bag. In these moments, the son might feel justified in his actions because he's blind to the pain he's causing. But Stoicism teaches us that we are responsible for our actions and emotions. Just because life is difficult doesn't give us an excuse to treat others poorly. A lack of self-awareness can cloud a son's ability to see his mother as the unwavering source of support that she is. Finally, emotional immaturity plays a significant role. As young men, many of us are taught to be strong, to hide our vulnerabilities, and to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. But the Stoics teach us that true strength comes from understanding our emotions and accepting them, not suppressing them. Sometimes, sons who are emotionally immature are unable to express their gratitude or appreciation for their mothers. They may act out in frustration, anger, or even neglect because they simply don't know how to process the depth of their feelings. They may feel overwhelmed by the pressure of life, and instead of turning to the very person who loves them unconditionally, they distance themselves from her. In the end, it's a lack of reflection and emotional maturity that leads a son to become ungrateful or disrespectful. But the Stoics remind us that we are capable of change. We can, with effort and self-awareness, learn to recognize the gifts we've received and honor the people who gave them to us, especially our mothers. Mothers, my dear friends, are truly remarkable beings. In my long life, I've come to realize that the love a mother gives is not simply a passing emotion. It is a force of nature. Stoicism teaches us to live in accordance with nature, to align our actions with the world's natural order. And when I reflect on the role of a mother, I see that she embodies the very essence of what it means to live according to nature. Think about it for a moment. A mother carries you inside her for 9 months, not just as a vessel, but as a protector, a nurturer. She sacrifices her own comfort, her own health, and often her own dreams, for the sake of bringing you into the world. She gives birth to you, and then for years, sometimes decades, she cares for you, guiding you through life's early stages. This is not an easy task, my friends. It takes incredible strength, patience, and resilience. And yet, most mothers do it without complaint, without seeking recognition. That in itself is an extraordinary example of Stoic virtues like resilience and self-discipline. A mother's love is unwavering and unconditional, no matter the obstacles that come her way. In Stoic philosophy, we are taught that virtue is the highest good, and it manifests itself in our actions, not in our words. A mother, in all her quiet acts of love and care, exemplifies this perfectly. She doesn't wait for accolades or awards for the care she provides. She doesn't demand gratitude, yet she continues to give, day in and day out. A mother's actions speak louder than any words could. In her selflessness, she teaches us what it means to live a virtuous life, not for recognition, but because it is the right thing to do. And it's not just about the sacrifices mothers make in raising their children. It's also about the wisdom they impart. I've learned countless lessons from my own mother, lessons that have stayed with me through the years. She taught me about patience when I was impatient, about kindness when I was harsh, about humility when I was arrogant. Her wisdom wasn't just in what she said, but in how she lived. She didn't preach, she demonstrated. She showed me through her actions what it meant to live a life of integrity, of respect, of love. That is the power of a mother's influence, and that is the kind of wisdom we must cherish and honor. The Stoics also believed in the idea of logos, the rational order of the universe. When I think of my mother, I realize that her actions, even in their simplicity, were in alignment with this natural order. She didn't act out of self-interest or pride. Her actions were in harmony with the world around her. She understood that caring for others, especially her children, was a duty that transcended her own needs. In a world where so much is driven by self-interest and individual success, a mother's love is a rare and powerful force that reminds us of what truly matters. So, my friends, the next time you find yourself questioning why a son should respect and honor his mother, remember this. A mother is not just a caregiver, she is a teacher, a god, and a model of virtue. Her love is the very foundation of who we are, and if we wish to live a life of wisdom and peace, we must honor her, not because she demands it, but because it is just, and because she is a living example of the very virtues that Stoicism teaches us to cultivate. Now, let's talk about how a son can change his ways, how he can return to a path of respect, gratitude, and love for his mother. It's not an easy journey, and I won't pretend it is. I've seen many men struggle with this, including myself in my younger years. But the Stoics have taught me that it's never too late to correct our course, to change the direction of our lives, and to rebuild relationships that may have been damaged over time. If a son has grown distant or disrespectful toward his mother, there is always hope for change, but it requires effort, humility, and a deep commitment to living a virtuous life. First and foremost, a son must look within. I've spent many hours reflecting on my own mistakes, and one thing I've learned is that we cannot change what we refuse to acknowledge. If a son is acting with ingratitude or disrespect toward his mother, the first step is to ask himself, why? Why have I become distant? What has caused this lack of appreciation? Is it bitterness, pride, anger, or something else that has clouded my judgment? The Stoics teach us the importance of self-reflection, of taking time to examine our actions and their underlying causes. This is the foundation of any real change. It's a painful process, but it's essential if a son hopes to regain his relationship with his mother. The second step, I believe, is to practice gratitude. It's easy to forget how much we've been given when life gets busy or difficult. We become consumed with our own worries, and in doing so, we neglect to appreciate the people who have given us everything. But Stoicism teaches us that gratitude is an active practice, not just a fleeting feeling. A son who wishes to rebuild his relationship with his mother must consciously remind himself every day of the gifts he has received. The small things matter: the warmth of a mother's smile, the way she cared for him when he was sick, the love she has always shown him, even when he was difficult to love. Each of these acts of kindness deserves to be acknowledged and appreciated. Gratitude, when practiced regularly, can help heal wounds and restore a sense of connection. But perhaps the most important thing a son can do is to seek forgiveness, not just from his mother, but from himself. The Stoics believed in the power of forgiveness, in the ability to let go of past mistakes and move forward with a clear conscience. If a son has been disrespectful or ungrateful, he must first recognize the harm he has caused and then humbly seek forgiveness. It is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. Admitting that we were wrong and asking for forgiveness requires great courage, but it also opens the door to healing and reconciliation. And in the case of a son and his mother, it is an act of love. an acknowledgement that, no matter the mistakes of the past, the relationship is worth restoring. Finally, I believe that a son must make a conscious decision to act with love and respect moving forward. It's not enough to just say the words or feel remorse. Change must be reflected in actions. A son who wants to honor his mother must show her respect in both big and small ways, through his words, through his actions, through his choices. Stoicism teaches us that virtue is not just about how we feel, but how we behave. A son who treats his mother with kindness, who listens to her with patience, and who expresses his gratitude in meaningful ways is a son who is living in alignment with Stoic values. So, my friends, while it may seem difficult, a son can always change. It requires self-reflection, gratitude, forgiveness, and most importantly, action. And as the years go by, you will come to realize that the relationship with your mother is one of the most precious things you will ever have. Don't wait for tomorrow to make amends. The time to act is now. In the end, my dear friends, what the Stoics have taught me, and what I now understand deeply, is that the way we live, the way we treat others, especially those closest to us, defines the quality of our lives. This includes the way we honor our mothers. The Stoics believe that a life lived in accordance with virtue, in alignment with nature, is the most fulfilling life. And when I think about how we can restore respect and gratitude between a son and his mother, it becomes clear that living a virtuous life, guided by Stoic principles, is the path to true peace and reconciliation. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea of mastering oneself. This means taking control of our emotions, our reactions, and our actions. When a son behaves in a way that is ungrateful or disrespectful, it is often a sign that he has not yet mastered his own desires or impulses. He may be driven by anger, pride, or frustration, all of which cloud his ability to see his mother for who she truly is, a woman who has given him everything. To return to a place of love and respect, a son must first master his own emotions. This doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It means understanding them, accepting them, and choosing to act in a way that aligns with virtue rather than emotional reaction. One of the key virtues the Stoics emphasize is wisdom, the ability to see things clearly, to discern the truth in every situation. A son who has lost respect for his mother may be blinded by his own pride, anger, or disillusionment. To restore the relationship, he must first gain clarity about the true nature of his mother's love and the sacrifices she has made. This requires stepping outside of oneself, putting aside personal grievances, and seeing the situation from a broader perspective. A wise son, as the Stoics teach, looks beyond his own ego and acknowledges the debt he owes to his mother, not just in material terms, but in love, care, and gratitude. Courage is another essential Stoic virtue. It takes great courage to admit when we have been wrong, to confront our mistakes, and to make the necessary changes. For a son who has been disrespectful to his mother, it takes courage to reach out, to seek forgiveness, and to begin anew. The Stoics understood that true courage is not about physical strength, but about the ability to do what is right, even when it is difficult. It takes courage to confront our own faults and to face the discomfort that comes with changing our behavior. But this is precisely what a son must do if he wishes to restore his relationship with his mother. Another important lesson from Stoicism is the idea of ataraxia, inner peace and tranquility. When a son holds on to anger, resentment, or pride, it creates turmoil within himself. He cannot find peace if he is holding on to negative emotions. The Stoics teach us that inner peace comes from accepting what is within our control and letting go of what is not. A son who wants to restore respect and love with his mother must let go of any bitterness or anger he may be holding on to. He must accept that the past is the past, and that, while he cannot change it, he can choose how he acts in the present and future. Finally, living in harmony with nature means living in harmony with the relationships that shape us. A mother's love is a natural, unbreakable bond, and a son's respect and gratitude toward her should be a reflection of his alignment with nature's order. The Stoics remind us that the quality of our relationships is a reflection of the quality of our character. If a son wishes to honor his mother, he must cultivate the virtues of wisdom, courage, and inner peace in his own life. Only then will he be able to see his mother's love for what it truly is and respond to it with the respect, gratitude, and love it deserves. By following these Stoic principles, a son can not only repair his relationship with his mother, but also create a life rooted in virtue and peace. It is a journey of self-mastery, of growth, and of profound love. And as the years go by, the bond between a son and his mother, when nurtured with respect and gratitude, becomes one of the greatest gifts life has to offer. As we near the end of this discussion, I want to leave you with something very important. Life, as we all know, is short, and we must make every moment count, especially when it comes to the relationships we hold dear. Our mothers, the women who brought us into this world and nurtured us with such love and sacrifice, deserve our respect, our gratitude, and our unwavering support. And if we have lost sight of this, it's never too late to turn things around. I encourage all of you, especially those of us who are getting on in years, to take a moment today to reflect on your relationship with your mother. Have you expressed your appreciation for her lately? Have you taken the time to truly listen, to acknowledge her wisdom, and to show her the respect she deserves? If not, I urge you to make that change. It's never too late to heal old wounds, to restore respect, and to rebuild the bond that may have weakened over time. Stoic principles teach us that it is within our power to choose our actions, regardless of our past mistakes. Now, I also want to take a moment to talk to you about something that can help as you navigate these relationships and challenges. And that's the Elderly Hacks channel. You see, we are living in a time where wisdom doesn't just come from books, but from shared experiences, from learning and growing together. The Elderly Hacks channel is a wonderful resource that offers valuable tips, guidance, and insights for seniors like us. Whether it's improving health, finding ways to stay active, managing relationships, or simply making life easier, this channel provides practical advice that can help you live your best life. I highly encourage you to subscribe to Elderly Hacks and to make it a part of your regular routine. There's so much wisdom to be shared, and the more you watch, the more you'll learn about how to make the most of your years. This channel is a reminder that it's never too late to grow, to improve, and to live life with intention. So, please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And make sure to watch the videos regularly. Every piece of advice shared can help you along your journey of growth, peace, and joy in your later years. Let's continue learning together and make these precious years count. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Take care and live well.